every time I try to record this video, some shit always happens. But whatever I'm going through and my situations, like in terms of this case, it's about me. The fucked up judicial system. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna start this video talking about the man who had lost his life. We're gonna talk about him first because I feel like that's the most respectful thing to do, and he's the person who matters throughout this whole case, not Amber Guyger. His name is Botham Jean. Some people call him Bo. He was born September 29th, 1991, and he was born in St. Lucia. He was a very religious person. He taught the choir. He wanted to get baptized at the age of 8 and then 9, and finally got baptized at 10. He was a preacher. He went to an all-Christian university. It was Harding University in Arkansas. So this guy was really religious. Like, he was straight up a man of God. He even brought his classmates back to his country, St. Lucia, to give back to the community, to volunteer, and to help out his people. He was an accountant, and he was just eating ice cream in apartment 10478 when he lost his life watching a movie. He was a 26-year-old. He passed away last year, September 6, 2018, but a lot of the time cases become popularized at the sentencing or towards the end, so I didn't even know about this until a couple of days ago, and it's like, damn, like he didn't even die this year. He died a whole year ago, and we're just finding out about it. But so I'm gonna talk about the Amber Guyger case and how I feel about it afterwards, because there's a whole lot to talk about with this case. So I don't know much about her life. If y'all want to research that on your own, that's fine. I didn't feel like her life needed to be talked about as much as Jean's or even the witness who recently lost his life. So all we need to really know about Amber is that she's white, she's a woman, and she's a police officer. Let alone her being a white woman is enough to deal with the bullshit of this case. We have that a lot of white women get away with a lot of bullshit in this country, but on top of that, she's an officer. So she has a whole lot of privileges and a whole lot of benefits and advantages from being white, from being a white woman, and then being a white woman police officer. So it's like, honestly, I'm even surprised that she got 10 years, to be honest. So moving on with the case. Last year on September 6, 2018, Amber had came home from a long shift. She's a police officer, so she came home from a 13.5-hour shift. And I felt like when I was researching about this, it was kind of bullshit to bring that up because, well, hold up. She had a 13.5-hour shift. She was obviously, you know, tired and exhausted. So there were parking lots corresponded to the apartment floors, and I believe she parked on the 4th floor, but she really lived on the 3rd floor. So how it was set up was Jean's apartment was right above Amber's apartment. So she goes into what she thinks is her apartment. She pulls out her key. She's trying to unlock the door, and she realized the door was already unlocked. So in her head, apparently she believed that somebody was in her house at this moment. But really, it was Jean in his home eating ice cream, watching a movie in the dark, and he left his door unlocked for whatever reason, I don't know. Like, I've left my door unlocked. I mean, if you think you're in a safe enough neighborhood, no one's gonna think while I'm chilling in my house, I'm going to get shot. Like, it could have been anything. He could have just came home, he could have forgotten, we don't know, but she thought there was an intruder in her house. So what she did was automatically drew out her gun, and she said, like, put your hands up, but really right after that, she shot him twice. And that is what happened that night. And she called 911, and in the 911 call, she's just like, oh my God, I thought it was my apartment, I'm gonna lose my job. I don't understand why one of the first thoughts that comes across her mind is she's going to lose her job. And America itself is just such an individualistic country and culture. Well, we don't really have a culture, just unseasoned chicken and shit, but so we are individualistic, and it's just like, you took away someone's life and the first thing that you say is, I'm going to lose my job. I thought I was going in my apartment. Like, there's someone who is bleeding out to death in his own apartment, in his floor. You're worried about what you thought was going on in your career. Like, it's time to be a human and time to have morals and to think about others. We need to hop on that bandwagon. After this incident happened, she was on administrative leave for 5 days, which I don't understand. It doesn't take even 1 day or 5 minutes to realize that she shot an unarmed black man in his property and his home, and he is dead. But eventually she did get fired, which is good. I just don't know why it took so long, but like I said, she is a white woman in America and a police officer. So the trial begins, and the defense attorney who is defending Amber, the defense was saying that, oh, the mistake Guyger made was a tragedy, like, but it was a reasonable mistake. Like, this was something that made sense. Like, a whole point of being in a courtroom and being a defender is you're trying to make the jury see that this act was done under a reasonable doubt, under a reasonable situation. But this was not. Okay, so the prosecutor who is going against Amber is saying that you did not even give this man a chance to explain or put his hands up, or basically like she left no opportunity for this situation to de-escalate. Like, you just automatically shot this man after telling him to put his hands up. Like, you didn't even take a second to look around the apartment to look. Okay, so this is what I don't understand. First of all, you're a police officer. I understand that you had a 13.5-hour shift, and I've had 12-hour shifts. I understand when you're tired, but how are you a police officer? How are you trained for a keen eye and you just end up being in the wrong apartment, let alone parking lot? Like, how do you not realize from your walk to the lot, to the floor, to the room, that this wasn't your building? Like, there has to be some kind of different variation between this apartment floor and yours. Like, there has to be some neighbor who has their door decorated. So of course she pled not guilty, because in her mind it's really just, oh, I didn't mean it, it was a mistake. To say it's a mistake, to just label your shit as a mistake when somebody lost their life, makes no sense to me. She pled not guilty and she was facing 5 to 99 years. I didn't know why 5 years is the minimum. The prosecutor wanted her to have 28 years. And for some reason people were thinking that was too harsh, but the thing is, the 28 years, it was actually very significant in this case, because Jean would have been 28 years old this year at the time of the sentencing. And honestly, 28 years, a year for each of his years of living, I would say you would think it's a fair trade, but honestly at this point in time in this country it's not. But it would have been honestly way better than getting 10 years. But unfortunately, after deliberating for 2 hours, the jury thought that she deserved 10 years. They believed that 20 years were too harsh. And on the jury were black women. That's interesting to me, because I feel like we feel the need to protect white women. Like, they're so pure, they're so innocent, but really, they are the most sneakiest in my opinion. Like, for example, they will purposefully say shit to anger somebody, and then they just have this weird, stupid, dumb look on their face, like they didn't start this problem, like they didn't intentionally do something. I know it's not about that, but it's interesting how black women are on this jury. They believe that 28 years were too harsh. They felt like throughout the trial she genuinely felt sorry. Like, bitch, she was sorry that she lost her job. She was sorry that she fucked up. She was sorry about herself though. And that's the thing, like, you're in a court case, you know your life is on the line, you know you lost your job, you know you're gonna be seen as this monster forever in the eyes of half of the world. You're crying over yourself. At the time, these niggas are not crying over what they did or who they affected, but they're crying over how it affects them at the end of the day. And I felt like that's really what it was, because people did say that in the beginning of the trial she had no emotion, but towards the sentencing she did. That sounds a lot like fucking Casey Anthony, who had no emotion during 98% of the trial, but when it came to her sentencing, when it came to her being scared, she was crying. She finally showed emotion. 10 years too hard. She might get out at 5 if good behavior. I do want to say about the sentencing, it's fucked up. It's part of the judicial system. 10 years, let's be honest. If it was switched, if the case was switched around and this was a black man who accidentally walked into a white woman's apartment and shot her under the same circumstances, I don't believe he would have gotten the same sentencing. He probably would have gotten life. He probably would have gotten 50+ years. Like, without parole, I don't even know, but we just know that it would have been a harsher sentence. And it's like, if you think about the Central Park 5 case, they easily put 5 young black boys in jail over one white woman. It didn't even take that much deliberation, and they were not the ones who did it. But in this case, when it's like, it's clear that this person did it, it's clear that she was on his property. She was charged with 1 account of murder, by the way, and it's like, you broke a whole lot more laws than just murdering this person. You also trespassed onto his property and illegally shot him. But the fact that she was in his property and shot and killed him, and oh, it was a mistake, oh my god, she's a white woman, oh my god, she's the officer. It's like, there's so many disadvantages to this case that does not favor the Jean family. So that is what happened that night. Jean lost his life, and that is what happened with the case. However, there's a lot of controversy on what happened after the sentencing. So the judge of this case is Tammy Kemp. Tammy Kemp is also religious. She's been to church for 25+ years. She brings the Bible every day to her court. She makes sure she prays every day as well. So here's the thing, because I feel like nobody really knows what exactly happened between the judge and Amber and what the judge was thinking. So one, I do want to say that this judge has hugged defendants before. It's been in different situations though. So the judge, she's hugged defendants who like passed probation or passed their drug test, but she has hugged defendants before. And she did not voluntarily hug Amber. Amber actually asked the judge for a hug twice, which shows her hesitation after the first time she was asked. So the way that it went, Amber was asking like, what is she gonna do with her life? Like, it's impossible to come back from this. And the judge was like, yes, it is, my child, giving her words of advice. She talked about praying, she talked about Jesus, she talked about, you know, how she could get her life together. And Amber replied that she did not have a Bible, and the judge was like, okay, I do. She kept a Bible on top of her computer, you know, with her in court. She brought that and she prayed with Amber. She read a passage from John 3:16. You know, because Amber didn't have a Bible and Amber was really fucking lost. As I said before, Amber had to ask twice. And the judge, like I said, she hesitated. Herself said that she wished she never hesitated the first time. Like, she wanted to treat everybody with respect. She's a judge. And I feel like people forget that. As a judge, you're non-biased. You're about equality. You're about balance. And in her eyes, she treats everybody with respect, whether you're the defendant or not. She wants to treat everybody with respect, and that's her views, that's her morals. I mean, yes, we could wish the worst for, you know, defendants and prisoners. Also, at the same time, you could wish the best for them, and you can genuinely hope that they get better instead of wanting to punish them. The same way some of y'all might have the energy that like, oh, fuck you, burn in hell, like I don't care about you, I hope you get the worst, like I hope you get butt raped in prison. It's the same energy someone could have where it's just like, I just hope you get better, like I just hope you're okay, like you don't do this shit no more, like you just live a better life, you become a better human being. So I feel like there's nothing wrong with having that approach to people who's done heinous things as well, because honestly, we need people like that so that we just don't attack hate with hate. Like, as much as we all want it to be Malcolm X, you know, like we do need people like MLK to just not escalate a situation that does not need to be escalated, you know what I mean? On top of that, Jean's brother, he asked the judge to hug Amber, and the judge can't just say no. That's not her decision, that's not her business. So I do want to say that Jean's mom and sister, you know, the black woman of the family, just saying, they think that this was intentional, that this murder of their son, of their brother, was done on purpose. The brother, however, his name is Brandt Jean. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing their names wrong. He's only 18 years old, and he's also very religious. So if you don't see what's going on here, there's a lot of religious people in this case who are black, and that is going to play a part in how they carry themselves and how they let other people affect them. I don't know if y'all understand how much power religion has. Like, religion really helps people get through tough times, and this is a tough time for them. And it's like, if he chooses to forgive the person who murdered his brother, that is his business. Like, I honestly don't understand why people are so mad. Like, not everyone wants to hold on to anger, not everyone wants to be mad about shit their whole lives. Like, if he wants to forgive her, that is his business. I'm just saying, like, if somebody kills my brother, I mean, bro, if you're watching this, you do owe me some money, but like, I'ma kill your ass. But that's just me. Like I said, there's a balance. Like, the same energy I'd have into killing my family's murderers or whatever is the same energy he's putting into this girl to forgive her, because not everyone wants to live with that grudge and that anger. That shit will really grow into something crazy. So he's 18, he's very religious, and he, who knows his brother more than any of us do, probably would think that this is what his brother would have wanted him to do, because religion, especially Christianity, has a lot about forgiveness, and forgiving is just a whole lot weight lifted, and it helps you move on. So if that's how he's grieving and that's how his family or whoever else wants to grieve, or the judge or whatever, like, just let them. That is their business. We know how we feel about it, but we can't be mad at other people for taking a positive route. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's a crazy situation, and I know it's murder, and I know we're tired of seeing it, but like, just to say that he's forgiven her doesn't mean he's not grieving over his brother, or doesn't mean he's not hurt or angry, but he's just trying to, you know, move on in a better way. My opinion on that is, let them do whatever the fuck, because that is what they want to do. They actually lost somebody. Like, they're actually going through it. As much as this case don't make no sense, it also makes no sense for people to be getting mad at this family for how they choose to go about their, you know, son's murder. Something I do also want to talk about is the witness. His name was Joshua Brown. I want to talk about who he was as a person, because he's not just known as the witness who died in the Amber Guyger case. He was born in Jacksonville, went to South Florida State. He was an athlete, 28 years old at the time, and he was a father of 3. So Joshua lived on the same floor as Jean, and he was there the night that he died. He knew enough to help beat this case and to prove what happened. However, while he was giving his witness testimony, he was crying because he was scared that due from the exposure of the case, he was gonna be in trouble. Like, his safety was jeopardized. And he was right to think that. So last Friday night, he died in the parking lot. It was a drive-by shooting with somebody in a sedan car. So the police obviously are investigating this, and they're saying that this has no link to the case, and that is complete bullshit. This guy had a testimony and went against a white woman police officer who kills an unarmed black man. Who would be the prime person killing Joshua after this testimony, after the sentencing? Obviously a police officer, but we're gonna act dumb like a lot of these companies do when they put out a offensive commercial. How do you not know that someone who shot the witness of a case, who got someone sentenced to prison, an ex-officer, that it was not linked to the case? I feel like they really spit things out to the public and think that we're genuinely stupid and that we'll just eat the shit up. Like, we don't know what the real cause is, and that's so fucking annoying to me. Why did 2 black men have to lose their lives? This country does not cease to just disappoint me. It's like, y'all see us hurting every day. Like, you see it through the protests, through the riots, through history, and you just don't care. Like, it's like we got presidents who are fucking up this planet, killing niggas, killing people, killing themselves, and they just don't care over power and greed and selfishness. And it's just like, what is the real reason to killing off and hating people based off of their color? It's mostly sad when you're just like not even surprised. The American Judicial System, for the way that they treated African Americans, I mean, it was kind of created to be slavery part 2. Half of us are scared to go outside because of shit like this, and it's just like, all this guy was doing was in his home. Like, he was just in his home. Like, that's the most heartbreaking of this case, is that this man was not doing anything but minding his business in his house. Rest in peace, rest in power to Joshua Brown and Botham Jean. I do, like, I'm not religious, but I send prayers, I send hope and faith to their families. I just, as far as Amber, like, get help, honestly, just go fuck yourself, get help, fuck you, I don't really know, like, yeah, yeah, I'm sorry guys. This shit just really, like, comment down what you guys think about this case. What do you guys think about Amber? What do you guys think about the situation? Who do you think really went after Joshua Brown? Like, comment down what you guys think. And I love when y'all comment. I really do. Like, even when y'all comment about my 3 necks, I love it. Please follow me on Instagram, add me on Snapchat at h.christy2s2 buys. I love you guys. I appreciate you all, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys. She the God, she the God, she the God.